Okay, yesterday this Masechta is a very interesting Masechta because I would call it the Masechta of digressions. At all points you start and then all of a sudden it digress. Now we're in the middle of a digression, but we don't know why we digress to this digression. We will find out soon, Bez Hashem. What was the digression? You have two houses next to each other, and and there's windows next to each other, and there's a mace in one house, and there's a tefach area in the window. The tumah goes there from one to the other, unless you go ahead and you fill up the window space. So we went through yesterday a few possibilities of what the window space was filled up with, and we said Shmuel said it in that something that is midi the chazi, something that you're going to take out, it's not going to remain there. It's not a chatzitza because it's not going to remain there. You're going to take it out. So he asked the kasha from a kupa of teven, a box of straw, and a barrel of gregris of dates, a barrel of gregris of dates. And we said the teven, you're going to use it for your animal? No, it was spoiled. Are you going to use it for cement to go ahead and put bricks together? It had kaitzim in it, and I didn't speak this out yesterday. Rashi says that they used to make the clay. They would remember the Italians? They would trample in the bath of the grapes for the wine. So they go ahead and they would stamp on the clay. So you have the straw with the kaitzim, that's trampling on it. So therefore, it's not for that. Now, what about the gregris? Well, the gregris were wormy. What about the chavias? So you took it out of the chavias. We said the chavias. We said if it's a barrel that's made of cheres, then it's speaking where the opening is facing away from the house of the mace, and it's not mitama lit on its backside. And then we gave another teretz. It's speaking about what the barrel is made of metal. Now, at that point, the barrel is made of metal. I wanted to see a tosfos, so let's see the tosfos. The barrel is made of metal, and since the barrel is made of metal, right? Then it's chaytzeitz. Good. The barrel's made of metal. It's chaytzeitz. Now says the Gemara, "B'chavi yishal mateches hiksher Rabbeinu tam." Chaf amid aleph. B'chavi yishal mateches hiksher Rabbeinu tam. The chavius gufa tavi tuma labayis acher. So good the gregris are hafsaka, and good you have hafsaka in the window, but that metal kli should go ahead and transmit the tuma into the other house. Why? We have a rule. Cherev harihu kechalo. The cherev, the sword, has a din of the corpse itself. It's an avi avois hatuma. Any metal that touches a mace does not become an avatuma, it becomes kecholo, like the corpse. Avi avois hatuma. So you answered up why the gregris is standing there, not being taken away, because it's in a kli, and the kli is made of metal, right? So the kli itself should transmit the tumah, right? The oil nasis hamateches kecholo. Through the tumas oil, this kli becomes like the mace itself. Lios avi avois hatuma kidemukach mesech oilos. V'havi kecholo nami l'tamei acherim be'oil. And then, in other words, it becomes now like a dead body to go ahead and transmit like tumas oil. The kula krod the v'chol sheyiga al pnei atzada v'chol cherev dorish le'benasa perakoyin gadol linyan oil. In other words, it's not only linyan maga is kecholo, but afilu tumas oil. So Fred the Gemara lamdish shakasha. So good, it's mafsik from the tuma, but it itself becomes tamei, and it becomes tamei. It's mamish like the mace itself. So let it transmit the tuma itself into the other house. V'niro lebenu tam the hachamari kigoyin shagroigres boltois chutz lepi chavius kol svivoisav. So the groigris is being it's extended outside the barrel all around it. Umechasas oisay legamri, and it's covering the whole barrel. So therefore, it's not contracting tuma because it's not exposed to the mace. She'enira klal. Again, the groigris is not a kabel tuma, guys. Why? It wasn't mukshal kabel tuma. So since the gregris is not kabel tuma, it's mafsik between the mace and the metal. So Rabbeinu Tam says it's in kimta. You have to say that the metal is not exposed to the mace, because if it was, it itself will become the mace. But having a covering of dried figs, therefore it's going to stop it. That's Rabbeinu Tam's. Let's go now one more. Go down to the wide line. It doesn't go outside the kaisel. The hashta derech aloin lo yavi tumah lebeis the bias. The tumah ritzutza b'kais v'oila. So guys, it's speaking like here's the window, and the barrel is totally immersed in the window. So, in other words, it's not outside the window. Here's the window, but it's taking up the airspace of the window, but none of the barrel is outside the window. So therefore, where's the tuna? It goes up and it doesn't go this way. So that's another way to deal with the problem of mateches. Okay, but we're going to continue this sugya. Again, this digression about what? About the window being stuffed up, and we're discussing different various things that possibly could go ahead and stuff up the window. Now, Shmuel said it in that something that you're going to take away, like an ochel or something that can be makabel tumah, is not a chatzitza. Okay, that guys, we're going to ask on Shmuel. So that's again beginning with the aim on the blackboard. Shmuel's din that maybe the chazi, something the chazi that you're going to go ahead and take away, you're going to take out, is not. It's not going to remain there. It's not going to remain there. It's not going to go ahead and be a chatzitza. So we're up to we're beginning to share from Chaf Amid Aleph, 3 lines down, 4 lines down. Mesivei. Asavim shetolshin, you took some grass and you disattached it from the ground. V'niach bechaloin, and you left it in the window. Oy she'alu me'aleim bechaloinos, or it in the window itself there was moisture and there was growth of grass growing up in the windowsill. Or umatloinios sheishesh mehem shalosh al shalosh, you have a garment that is in it the 3 etzbois by 3 etzbois. That's the minimal share of a patch. Or the avar lead, or the harbasa hamuldudolim bebehema ubechaya, or you have a limb that it's cut and it's suspended from the animal, and it's in the chalain. So all these things, fellas, are in the chalain. We want to know if they're a hefsek or not. V'oiv sheshachim bechalain, or a bird comes to rest in the chalain. V'oiv kechavim sheyoshe bechalain, or a guy is sitting in the window. Uben shmeina hamenuach bechalain, or an 8-month-old child. Remember, an 8-month-old child did not live. An 8-month child lying in the chalain. V'hamelech was salt. The klicheres, or an earthenware kli, the sefer Torah, or a sefer Torah, hula mimatin bechalain. All of them would go ahead and diminish the dimensions of the chalain. So if they diminish it less than a tefach, then the truma would not leave. So all of these things would be viable things to what? Okay. Now, this is going to be a problem according to Shmuel, because l'chari, these things you're going to take away, correct? But just to finish off, this is a Tosefta in Masechta Aylos. Just finishing off, I'm going to go back over this whole Tosefta. Now, all these would be good. Aval sheleg, snow, barad, hail, glid, ice. All these things, a hakfar, also some type of ice or some type of cold thing. V'hamayim, kulam ein mematim b'chaloin. All of these would not go ahead and diminish in the chaloin. All of these would not go ahead and diminish chaloin. Okay, so going back over the brisa, again, just to reiterate, we're in the digression of the window, but something's in the window is going ahead and diminishing the dimension of the window to impede the tumah from going from one to another. We gave a whole list of things that are diminished. Based upon Shmuel, we're going to ask why. Because what does Shmuel say? Something that doesn't remain there that you're going to take out does not diminish the dimension. Something you're going to take out does not diminish. So going back over it, what was the first thing we said? We spoke about grass. Right? We spoke about grass. Says the Gemara, "Asavim chazu lebeheimasai." Can you use grass to feed your animal? Absolutely. So like Shmuel, why should it diminish the dimensions of the chalain? After all, it's to be seen. Lenny, we're Daf Chaf about 12 lines down. Chaf Amid Aleph. Says the Gemara, be'afrazata. We're speaking about a grass that is not dangerous. It's actually poisonous for animals, and therefore it's a nukimta. You're not going to take it out. You're not going to take it out, so it could diminish the dimension. Okay. Now, base is let's be garish. Aisha alu me'alehem. Well, we said that the grass grows up itself in the windowsill, right? Fred the Gemara, keeping the kashal l'kaisel shakalahu. Since it's difficult, since it's difficult, right? we take it away. Since it's difficult, we're going to take it away. So what's the kasha? It should not diminish the dimension. So Amarabba, b'koisel chorva, we're dealing with the koisel of a chorva, and therefore we're going to leave it there. We're not going to go ahead and cut it down. It's going to remain there. It's going to remain there. Okay, let's go back to Tosfos on the Amid base. Amarav tuvi rokik ememayit. Rokik is some type of wafer. It's not going to diminish the dimensions. What's the reason we bring it over here? Agav the parch lekamon. We're going to ask later on, right? Lekamon asaroyim, even the kashal kaisel shaklahu. Since they're not good for the wall, we're going to take it away. So this is the reason. Since it's not good for the wall, we're going to take it away, right? That's the reason we learned this sugya. So I jumped the gun a little bit. This is speaking about grass in the window. We're going to be cases royim. So we brought all of this. I got one little line of Gemara, and it's again classic. This Masech, this classic digression. It's amazing. It's just amazing. It's just, it's great. it's the Papa Amar, I feel b'koshel yishuv, right? You can even say it's speaking what in a kaisel of a yishuv. It's not speaking about what. It's not speaking about a chorva. It can be speaking a yishuv. B'boyin, right? Chutz l'shleisha. This is why the reason we brought it in, guys, because it's outside what less than 3 tefachim away, right? It's outside chutz. Excuse me, more than 3 tefachim away. Ve'ena cry from the kaisel. So, guys, look at me. Look at me. We learned between my fingers is the windowsill, and we learned that the grass was growing up this way. So, Fred the Gemara, how could that be a chatzitz? How could that go ahead and diminish the dimensions? After all, you're going to take it away. So he gave one teretz to speaking about a chorva. Yeah. Now it's a different teretz. The grass is not growing up over here, guys. Here's your window. The grass is growing over here, outside of 3 tefachim, and it's growing up. So you're not going to take it away. But since it covers the window, it's chatzitza. It diminishes dimension. That's what puppies did. That's what puppies did. And this is why it has what to do with Baba Basra. This is where Baba Basra meets Oilus. Okay, now we're going back over that Tosefta, all the different materials that you said diminishes dimensions. We mentioned Matlonios, a small beged that was 3 etzbois by 3 etzbois, right? Now you're going to say that it remains there. It says Marchazile Likriya de Lavusha. You could use it as a patch. So since you can use it as a patch, you're going to take it away. Kasha and Shmuel says the Gemara Bismichta, right? It's what? It's heavy. It's a heavy material, and therefore you can't use it as a patch. The Gemara Chazei Lu'umna, a bloodletter could still use this mutlanios to wipe off his trade on it. Says Gemara Beriska. It's speaking that what that it's scratchy. You know, it's harsh. It's scratchy. It's going to scratch his blade. Says Gemara Iberiska. If it's speaking about something like sackcloth that's very hard and scratchy, in other words, 3 etzbois to 3 etzbois is the smallest thing for a patch. But if you can't use it for a patch because of its thickness and because it's scratchy, then extend it. Don't limit it to 3 tefachim. You can go at 3 etzbois. You can go ahead and extend it to about 4 tefachim. Says the bar, Kain Risko. We don't mean it's mamish scratchy, but it's kind of scratchy. Okay, the bottom line is we had an okimta to say that this matlanios is going to remain in the window. Now we mentioned other few things. Again, we're going back over to Tosefta. The aver is lead. So this behema, the arm is disattached. It's dangling from the animal, and it's in the window. And we're saying that what it's going to be diminished the dimension. Fred the Gemara, right? The animal's going to get up and go. So how can you tell me it's going to diminish the dimensions? Says that it's tied to the chalaim. Says the Gemara, shachadla, you can shecht it and eat it and take it away. Says Gemara b'tmeya was speaking about an animal that's tamei. Says Gemara mazvel nachu, you could sell it to a guy and take it away. Says Gemara b'chusha, it's a weak animal, he's not going to use it. Says Gemara pasuk shadilei, right? So you can cut off the limb and throw it to the dogs. Says in the Since tzab alechaim to cut off the limb, you won't do it. So again, an okimta to go ahead. In other words, this is the quest for truth. Again, I always say the quest for truth. If the Gemara can possibly come up with a reason to say that this thing is going to remain there, as long as you have a reason, even as far-fetched as it is, that's the quest for truth. And that's the ultimate truth. And since I can establish it, speaking about an animal, that's a treifa animal, and that is a tsar bali tsar, then it can be what diminished the dimensions. What about now? Next thing we said what? What?
If I need it,
What?
if we learned that Sabbath time, if you need it,
You need it to stay there.
Need the light.
No, it's Tameya. I need it to stay there. I need the animal. I need it to stay there. Says the Gemara. Yeah. You're gonna throw it to the dogs. Says the Gemara. V'oif shachin b'chaloin. An oif is standing in the window. Parach v'azol. It's gonna fly away. How can it be dimension? Says no, because it's tied. Says when shachalo, you can shecht it. It's a tummy bird. Masmaloi l'nachri sell it to a guy. Kalnisa, it's a type of very thin bird that is not worth its nishkaim. It's vayach. Vayach, yeah. Kenny vayach means like it's just no meat on the bone. Vayach means there's no meat on the bone.
You just talk about birds.
Huh? You never heard the word vayach? No, vayach sword. Yeah. So what's no meat on the bone? It's how do you say dak? It's
Thin.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, vayach means soft. Excuse me, I didn't say it. Kenny, I'm sorry, I'm teaching you wrong Yiddish.
He was trying to correct you, but his mute was on.
Dak is thick, dak. Like, anyway, it didn't have any meat on the bone. Says the Gemara. So speaking about the bird is a tied up kalnisa bird. Says the Gemara. You still can give it to a child to play with. You'll take it out of the window. Says the Gemara Misrat. It's a scratchy bird. It's going to scratch your kid. Says kalnisa lemisart. The bird you're telling me is a kalnisa. It's not going to scratch. In other words, they know what type of bird is it. It says cane kalnisa. I mean a bird that has no meat on the bone, so guy's not going to buy it, and it's scratchy, and the kid won't play with it, and it's a tummy dika bird. Okay, that's the kimta of the bird. Now they have the Ovi Kachavim sitting in the window, and he's taking up the space. Ovi Kachavim shiyashe b'chaloin. Says Gemara, Koivaz is going to get up and go. So how can he diminish? Says Ovi Kachavim, he's tied up. Says Gemara, Asi Chavre Sharile. His Chav is going to go ahead and let him out. The Mitzayra, he's a Mitzayra. Says the Gemara, Asi Mitzayra Chavre Sharile. Mitzayra is going to come. Ella, you have to say b'chavushe amalchus. He's there. He's tied up because what? Right, the king. No, the king's got him tied up there, and therefore what? Therefore, he's not going to go ahead and leave. Again, the bottom line is we have okimtis of all these cases. Why they're not going to leave? Mendy, I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. You're giving me the face on this Gemara that sometimes you give me. You know, you look like either you don't hear me or you're happy with this, right? You're good. Good. You come a long way over the years. Remember the old years what you used to do with me? You give me the Uncle Elliot. Remember you give me come on, it's talking about. You used to give me that. You got tempered in your old age. No, Uncle Elliot was you. Anyway, says the Gemara Vaita. Uben shmoina hamunach b'chaloin. You have an 8-month-old baby in the window, and he's like stone. The Gemara asks you ime darilei. The mother's going to take it away. Says the Gemara b'Shabbos and he's muksa. The Tanya ben Shmoina Haru Ke'evin Bas Lataltaloi b'Shabbos. Aval imay shoicher love. His mother can bow down and menikdai and nurse him. Sakana, because sakana not to the child, sakana to the mother. Melach, we said melach is going to be diminished to dimensions. Chazilei, according to Shmuel, you could use the salt and take it away. It says it's speaking about what? Very bitter salt. It says so good you can't use it for culinary arts, but you could use it for tanning. The tanning process, you salt the hides. You could use it for that. It says this by kaitzim. They have kaitzim in there, and it's gonna it's gonna hurt your hands. So therefore, you're not going to go ahead and use it for tanning either. Kivin the kashi says the Gemara. Kivin the kashi l'kaisel shakla, right? Says the Gemara, since salt is going to be hard on the wall, you'll take it away. In other words, you don't need the salt, but it's damaging to your wall. It's not good, right? It's not good. Says the Gemara, the yosva achaspa. It's sitting on a piece of earthenware, so it's not in contact with your wall, and therefore it's not going to go ahead and erode your wall. Says the Gemara, chatzva gufa techlet. So what do you care about the salt? The chaspa itself, let the earthenware itself be what? Be the chatzitza. Let the earthenware itself be the chatzitza. Says the less shura, it doesn't have the share. Kitit nan. Now this is in Hilchas Shabbos, guys. Hilchas Shabbos is we have the halachas of Shabbos, the haitzah, specific items that you're going to go ahead and want to take out. What's the share to be chayiv for haitzah? Kitit nan. Cheres. What's the share of cheres? They lite bein patsim l'chaveiroi. Put slats to go ahead and put between the upper and lower window of the slats. Says more klicheres chazilei l'chaveir klicheres. Excuse me. Next, klicheres chazilei. We said klicheres is diminishes the dimension. Says the Gemara, chazilei, you could take it away and use it. Says the mitnif, it's 30. Says chazilei, a bloodletter can use it. Says no, the menakev, there's holes in it. So again, each one of these, the Tosefta and oilos that we're going ahead and establishing that it stays there and it's diminishing the dimensions, each one we have what? Against the Torah on. Each one is an ukimta. Each one in itself is an ukimta. Says the Gemara, Sefer Torah Chazi Mikra. We said a Sefer Torah diminishes the dimension. You could take it to read. Says Gemara Bibavli, it's tattered. But boy Geniza, so you have to put it away. Says Shamte Geniza, that's where you're going to put it. Shamte, that's where the Geniza is. So again, Shmuel served throughout all the Tosefta. We went through one by one and knocked off each one. Amarav, not the Amarav, Amarav. B'chol oisa mechitza, anything you can use for a mechitza, chutz mi melach v'rav, except salt. V'rav is grease. You can't use all these things. You can't go ahead. What you can't use in your. But chutz mi melach. Melach is mefazer. V'rav. It's because it melts. Shmuel says afilu b'melach, even salt. Amrav papa v'lei pligi. They're not arguing. Ha b'melach sedaimis, which is very, very thick and hard. You could use that as a chatzitza, as to make a wall. But ha b'melach ashtrakoinis, and the other one's speaking about fine. Rav said that you can't make a mechitza from melach. It's because it's fine salt. This is speaking about a wall, a mechitza by Erevin. You can make two piles of salt and put a beam across to be the opening of the mavoi. Shamelech Mamedis is a kaira because the melech supports the beam. But kaira Mamedis is a melech, and the beam keeps the melech in place. I feel the melech ashtrakoinis, even melech ashtrakoinis could be used as a wall. Right. It says v'loi pligi, and Rabbi Shmuel are not arguing. Ha de kaira. When there's a kaira, then the melech, even Rav would admit, and then Rav would agree with Shmuel. It's good chatzit. Rav would agree that melech is good chatzit, a good wall, and that Rav said it's not a good wall. It's speaking to like a kaira where you don't have what. So we had two terutzim, Rav and Shmuel, guys. One is speaking about two different types of salt. A melech ashtrakoinis and melech sedaimis. Ashtrakoinis, no. Sedaimis, yes, or no. It's speaking about ashtrakoinis and has a beam. If it doesn't have a beam, then it's not good. If it has a beam, then it's good because it supports it, and therefore it would be a maimed. Okay. Now the Mishnah said, "Marchikin esarechayim, we shloisha tefachim from the shechev, which is arba tefachim from the rechev." You have a mill. Picture the mill, guys. It's thicker below. It's 4 tefachim from below, and it's 3 tefachim from below and 4 tefachim from above, because it gets thinner. So from the bottom, the base is 3 tefachim, which is automatically going to be 4 tefachim from the thinner part. If you have a base that extends itself this way and it's 3 over here, by the time it gets up, it tapers up. It's going to be 4 from the tapered area. Okay, it's going to be 4 from the tapered area. My timer. What's the reason you have to distance yourself from a mill? Mishum tiria, because of the vibrations. Tanya v'shel chamor. It's mashma pounds on the ground. It's not the pounds on the ground, right? I guess the vibrations. But I'm not sure that it could be weakens the ground, because it's Tanya v'shel chamor. If it's a mill of a chamor that a chamor turns around, Shloisha min is strubel. 3 tfachim from the strubel is the bottom. Shein arba min akeles, which is the top part, where you throw the stuff in. Hasa maitiria ikka. It seems to be that doesn't move a great deal. Says the Gemara, ela mishum kala. The reason is because of the sound. It seems the sound that it makes goes ahead. So it's not the vibrations, but it's the sound that impacts upon the wall. Vesat tanner, you distance the tanner, shloisha tvachim from the kalya, which is the base. Shein arba min safa, which is 4 tvachim from the top. Again, the tanner tape is off as well. Amar Abaye says Abaye shmamina kalya the tanner tefach. The kalya of a tanner, it goes ahead. It's boiled a tefach. In other words, it's 3, and the kalya goes out a tefach, because therefore that's why it's. In other words, it's 4 from the top, 3 from the bottom. So you see that what obviously if it's 3 from the bottom, it's extended itself what a tefach. And why do we have to know this from? Amar Abaye shmamina kalya to tanner tefach and afkamino mekel chamemker. If you buy a tanner, you could expect what the base to be at least what 3 tefachim. The base to be at least what 3 tefachim. Okay, says the Mishnah. Lo yamid, again, we're dealing with hachakas nesikin. Lo yamid adam tanner b'tech habayis. A person, now you have a duplex, and you living in the apartment below, and this guy living above. What's the distance you need between your oven and the ceiling of the apartment above? You need 4 amis. That's 4 amis. That's 24 tfachim. We've been discussing tfachim, guys. Here, this is amis. You need arba amos to distance yourself. That the flames or the smoke, I guess the flames more, should not go ahead and extend. Let's say the oven's in the aliyah. Now you don't have to worry about the top because no one's living above you. What do you have to worry about? The guy living below you. You need cement underneath the oven, shloisha tefachim, that's a tanner, and a kiro, which is not as hot as an oven, tefach, a tefach. So our ratio is what? 3 for a tanner, and a tefach for a kiro, 3 to 1. So that's from above. If hizik, and if you do damage, mishalei masha hizik, you're going to pay for it. In other words, these are chakas nesikin, but it's not getting you off the hook. This is what you have to do. But if you do it, you're going to have to pay. Says Rav Shimon, we said all these, right? Only want to tell you that if you do it. Says Rashi, even if you go ahead and you distance yourself all the shiurim, you're going to pay for the damage. Even so, the shekenim can be ma'akiv to distance all these things. Shema yadlik batayim ve'inla malashalim. In other words, so you say it's a big deal. What should you care? You're going to get paid anyway, right? So the answer is practically you don't want you don't want to be out of your house. You may not have another house to rent. Okay, that's what Rashi says. And Rav Shimon argues. Lo yiftach adam chanus shel nachtoimim b'shel tzavayim. We quoted this earlier. A person should not open up a bakery or a dyer business tachas oitzer shel chaberoi, underneath the oitzer of his friend. Now this oitzer, fellas, there's 3 possible things that's going to be there: shemen, yayin, or tfua. You're going to have crops, oil, or wine. Good. And you can't go ahead and open a bakery or a dyeing place because we assume that the smoke will be bad for the oitzer. For loy refit bakar, and not you can't put animals that smell and make things that smell, right? You can't put it there because the odor is going to be awful. Be'emes b'yayin itiru, be'emes b'yayin they permitted a bakery and a dyer because smoke seems to be good for it, at least in those times. Avaloi refit bakar, but the refit bakar not. In other words, there's the difference between the damage of smoke of the bakery and the odor of refit bakar. There's 2 different damages. One, you're being damaged from the smoke, and the other, you're being damaged by the odor. So the odor is something that's going to get into the food and or the yayin or the shemen, that's no good. But the smoke seems to be okay according to what this last opinion. Now, what was our dimensions, guys? Guys. You're in the upper apartment. How much? How much do you have to put underneath? Three for a tanner and one for a kira. For a tanya betana arba ubekira shloisha, 4-3, not 3-1, 4-3. Rabbi kitanya he bin dachtaimen, right? The tanadi don ki kir dachtaimen. In other words, they're heavy duty ovens of the bakery. They run all the time. They're hotter. So their tanner, our tanner, which is 3, is like their kira, which is also 3, and their tanner is 4, where ours is 3. If the refit was there before, you don't have to leave it. You can leave it there, right? Okay. Baya. Kibed. Now in other words, if the oitzer wasn't there yet, and the refit baka was there, he doesn't have to move. He was there first. So now the question of the next piece of Gemara is going to be, is what about that potentially there's going to be an oitzer there. So for example, Baya. Kibei v'ribes, the Balaliyah went ahead and he cleaned up the place. Loitzer, right? But he doesn't have any food in there yet. Mahu. Is that considered that the oitzer was there before and therefore what? You can't? Or do you say that no? Do you say that there wasn't any food there? Right? Right? Reba, the chaloinos. He went ahead and the Balaliyah, he put a lot of windows in, so you should have a lot of air to air out keep the food good. Mahu, what's the din? In other words, he's doing things that you see clearly what he's doing for the purpose of an oitzer. So that's the question. Let's not be guys the next few words. Bona aliyah agabe beisay mahu. He builds an aliyah on top of his house. So he's living in the bottom and he builds it on top. Then he gets to move to the top, right? Is he megala das that he's going ahead and going to put an oitzer there, and you can't the bottom or not? So all these are teiku. You have to wait for Eliyahu and Nabi to come and answer them. Boy Rav Huna bereid Rav Yeshua tamei v'rimoni mai. Usually you go ahead, guys. You put in an oitzer. What do you put? As we said, shemen, tfua, or yayin. Here you put in dates or pomegranates. Is that considered what? That an oitzer or not? And the Gemara answers that what? Teiku as well. The emes be said biyayin etiru, a bakery and a dyer, but not refet baka. Tana biyayin etiru fnei shemash bichai. Biyayin they mated it because the smoke makes the wine better, not by us but by them. Because it goes ahead and it makes it disgusting. I'm Rav Yosef. Hi didon afilu kutru the sharganami koshalei. Our wine, even a little candle is not good for. I'm Rav Sheshes vaspasta. If you can go ahead and store a spasta krefet bakadamya. Below, if you're going to go ahead and have a spasta, which is shachas of an animal, that's also krefet bakar, and therefore, if a guy had an oitzer above, you're not able to go ahead and have a spasta below. Sira, please.